Hello, everyone. Welcome. My name is Amy Neufeld, and it's really great to be here with you today. I am an undergraduate program advisor for the business programs, and I'm also going to be your moderator for tonight's virtual open house, where we are talking about the double degree BBA programs. So there's lots of great information that's coming your way, and lots of chances to ask questions and to hopefully learn a little bit about this program. I'm here with a few people. I'm going to introduce you to some of them that are here on the screen with me, but I'm going to tell you a little bit about some of the people behind the scenes too, because we've got some people that are answering questions. You'll see in your GoToWebinar box there that there is a section for asking questions. You ask them, we'll answer them. That's how this works this time. So we've got some wonderful people that are helping. Erie's here from admissions, and my goodness, her fingers might be a little bit tired. She was answering so many questions in our last session, but she's fantastic. So she's doing a great job. I'm also here with my fabulous colleagues, Lauren and Bethany, who will also be available answering some questions in there behind the scenes. And after I kick things off here, I'm going to disappear for a bit and answer some questions as well, but you'll see me again at the end when we have a little bit of a question and answer period. So I'm going to toss it over to people here to give some introductions, and then, as I said, then we're going to get sort of started. So we've got a couple of students here with us today. So I'm going to ask Riley if you could please introduce yourself.
Yeah, no problem. So hello, everyone. My name is Riley Brown. I'm a second year in the BBA BA Financial Math double degree, so perfect for this session. I also work for the Department of Residence, so if you have any residence questions, you can put them in the questions box and I will try and answer them as quick as I can.
Fantastic. Thank you, Riley. We're so happy to have you here. And Wendy, would you please introduce yourself?
Hi guys, my name is Wendy. I originally started out in the BBA in Financial Math program, just like Riley, but I've switched over and I'm now just in the BBA program. In my third year, sorry.
Fantastic. So I will be introducing Professor McGill in just a moment, but I just wanted to say we are so lucky to have these students here with us tonight. And I do want to say we're going to go over lots of information. I know you probably have lots of questions about admissions and about the process, and of course we're happy to answer them. But I want to really encourage you to ask questions about the student experience, because that's kind of harder to Google. Admission averages pretty easy to find on your own, but what is residence like at Laurier? Better to ask a person here. So please, they're going to be watching these questions, and if you have questions about their experience as students here, they are more than happy to answer them. And of course, we'll be talking a little bit about that at the end as well. So just wanted to encourage that. So I'm now going to turn things over to Professor McGill, who is going to introduce herself, and then she is going to take you through this presentation. So over to you.
Good evening, and thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We're happy to have you here, and we've got a little bit planned for you tonight. I'll try and confine my presentation to about half our time together, and then open it up for questions. But again, don't wait if you've got one, put it in the question, and you might get 2 or 3 responses, one from the program perspective with Amy and Lauren and Bethany, one from admissions perspective, and one from the student perspective. I am the Associate Dean of Undergraduate Business Programs at the Lazaridis School. And that means that the single degree BBA and the 4 double degree BBAs, as well as the BTM out of Brantford and the management option, which is the minor available to non-business students. They're all part of the programs that I administer. I'm also a faculty member of the business department and teach the second year business law course that is required in all of these BBA programs. And so from that perspective, I can share my classroom and my prof hat, as well as my program administration kind of hat, and provide some insight on these programs. The first thing I'm sharing with you is the overview slide, and I'm using the short form. BBA that you'll hear us banter about all the time. Of course, that stands for Honors Bachelor of Business Administration. Don't be caught up by the business administration label. You'll hear many schools use a variety of different labels, commerce or just business. They're all branding of their particular programs, and not a lot of distinction in which name you might use. We just finished the single degree session, so I'm going to focus in this session on the 4 custom designed double degree programs that we offer in conjunction with the BBA. So here are the four. There are two of them that we offer with our Laurier Faculty of Science as partner, and that's the Financial Math double degree and the Bachelor of Science in Computer Science. Those are offered with the Faculty of Science in the Laurier campus. And then we also have the BBA in conjunction with the Bachelor's of Mathematics from the University of Waterloo, and the BBA in conjunction with a Bachelor of Computer Science with the University of Waterloo. So four separate programs that each have their own unique features. I'm not going to drag you through all of the details associated with those, with each of those programs, and I'm going to try and talk kind of high level about them, about the way they're structured and about their quality. But the first thing I would say about them is all four of these are elite programs. They are our premier programs. They offer, in our opinion, the best of two worlds, the business world and then math or computer science specialties as you choose them. So there isn't a bad decision among these. Hard to compare them and make a choice, but certainly very, very popular among our students and our applicants. So in a general way, let's talk about what we mean when we say double degree. This is not a truncated or reduced size mini version of each degree. These are the full degrees. Everything a BBA single degree student takes, a double degree BBA student takes as well. So we do two separate degrees in 5 years. I'm going to show you a slide in a few minutes about how we do this, but there are a couple of ways. First of all, we use all 3 terms of the academic year. The Lazaridis School is a 3-term school, single degree or double degree, because of our very active co-op program. And we want you to have work experience, not just from 1 term, always working in the summertime when all of the other employees are on holidays. No, we invite you and ensure that your program is structured so that you enjoy work terms in all 3, fall, winter, and summer time periods. So we use those as part of the programming. As well, each of the degrees on their own would have electives, choices of other courses that you would take on your own interest that you might want to specialize on. So we take some of those electives and apply them to the corresponding degree. So some of your required courses in the math degree, for example, would now take the place of a few of the electives that were available to you in the single degree BBA. That allows us to essentially fill double duty out of those 2 courses. That's how we do this in 5 years. But it means you reach the marketplace with what should take, if it were not concurrent, 8 years to do. Obviously, the prestige and uniqueness of this kind of a partnership is special in the workplace and in graduate studies. Certainly, the opportunity to have 2 universities, and you will, in fact, be students of 2 universities if you do UW's double degree, convocate from 2 universities. It is a wonderful opportunity that we're very proud to have created. We've been running double degrees for almost 2 decades now. They didn't all roll up with the first configuration, but they have been so successful that we've expanded our portfolio over the last 20 years to include 4 now. They come with automatic entry into the co-op program. So if you were at the single degree session where I described that a competitive entry process that starts at the end of first year for the single degree, that's not the case for double degrees. You are admitted with co-op. In fact, there is no way to be admitted without co-op. So again, you don't have to search for the list on the UAC form for the alternative without it. You come in with co-op. And Of course, we could fill these programs multi times over if we wanted to. Employers are always asking us for more graduates. It's virtually 100% placement rate. We choose to keep them small and elite and control the admissions. So you'll enter a very unique small cohort, but you'll study with the single degree BBA students in those classes, so you will meet the wide pool of business students and feel the benefit of the larger program. The business program at Laurier has existed since 1966. It's one of the oldest and first in Canada. We have an experienced co-op history that makes you workplace ready. Inside that BBA component of the program, you will have the opportunity to specialize on a business concentration. And that's an interesting thing when you already have the other specialization of either computer science or math, to then add sometimes a finance concentration on top of it makes a very powerful statement to the marketplace about what your interests are and what your capabilities are. The BBA program also runs on what we call a cohort basis, which means year by year. You do all of first year before you go to the second year requirements, and then you do all of second year before you go to the third year. Our courses are clustered together in modules you take together so that there can be crossover and integrated experiences across them. And that allows you to build the learning environment in a more unique way. It will start with a foundational level that gives you a comprehensive basis across all functional areas of business, and then it will build to a specialization later into the program. We're very proud of the history of our school. We were we were actually the first Canadian business school to be accredited by AACSB. That's the international standard in business schools that measures quality and continuous improvement. And we were proud to be the first. Many other business schools have followed suit now and do have that accreditation in Canada, but we are still among only 5% of the world's business schools that hold that accreditation. We also use that when we look at how we relate with other business schools. So if you were to go on an exchange term, for example, or if you were seeking to take a course at another business school that you wanted us to recognize, whether it's AACSB recognized as well, will be a factor in whether we recognize or partner with those schools. Now, we're just not proud of our own faculty and program accomplishments. We're very proud of our students, and one area I like to highlight is the tremendous success our students have had on the international case competition stage. This is what we would call varsity academics rather than varsity athletes, where students join teams and they enter essentially contests. Who can solve the most creative way a business challenge? Some of them are simulations, some of them are real world problems. They're all around the world, and our teams compete against teams from other business schools with tremendous success. We have been School of the Year. We have won competitions all around the world. Sometimes, and partly because our program embeds case competitions right into some of the courses and some of the program features, but also they're available to participate in through the many clubs and activities we have operating in a co-curricular environment. So very proud of our students standing on the world stage. So inside the business program, there are 10 opportunities to specialize, and I'll give you the thumbnail sketch, but among them are finance, accounting, marketing, human resources, supply chain, there's entrepreneurship, there's sustainability, and new this year, introducing for your year, will be a strategy concentration. And what this means is of your business electives, you take out of a set of identified electives, more focused electives in those areas that build your expertise in that particular area. The benefit is if you're pursuing an additional professional designation. For example, you want to be an accountant and gain the CPA designation, then you're going to take the accounting concentration. And Amy, who you met earlier, is one of our experts in how the accounting courses are taken and recognized by the CPA to give our Lazaridis graduates advanced standing when they go to write those licensing exams. Similarly, if you want to be a money manager, for example, the very popular designation to qualify you for that is something called a CFA. And our finance courses in the finance concentration have advanced recognition and prepare you to write those licensing exams. CHIRP, CHRP, yeah, you may not be familiar with, but that's the professional designation for those who want to go into human resources or organizational behavior. And again, taking that concentration helps give you an advanced standing in achieving those professional designations. Now, we don't ask you to make that choice too early in your program, because you may come in thinking, oh yes, I want to be an accountant, and then you take your first finance course and all of a sudden finance is your passion. So those choices get made in third year. We're not going to rush you into them until you have the foundation established to make that choice. You can also pursue your own entrepreneurial activity and an international concentration that allows you to take a trip, visit companies around the world. You can also do a term abroad, a little challenging with the tight schedule of the double degree. So that's one of those things that if you know you want to do that, you come and talk to us early so that we can help you. And our program advisors, Amy, one of them you met, Bethany and Lauren, you're probably chatting to in the questions right now. They are the experts who help you map those plans early. You can also fit in a minor from another faculty, and very popular for people to pick up a minor in economics because the BBA has built in some economics courses that you are required to take anyway. So they count again twice towards your minor as well. That immersive feature, that experiential learning that we're very proud of in the BBA side of the program is here. Reflected in this slide, a feature in every year of the program. In fact, in your first term of the business program, that fall course, PU 111, will have a live case experience where in groups inside your class, you solve a real world problem and eventually present to the executives of that company as they determine the winner of the case competition. The new venture projects and Pepsi pitches that are more concentrated towards the end of the first year in your winter term, they too involve this group and experiential real world application of what you're learning. Second year, we partner with IKEA to do a sustainability competition where IKEA's executives participate with us to evaluate student proposals. Co-op prepares you for the workplace through your second year. It's not just to get a job arrangement at Laurier. Co-op is academically credentialed. So there are workshops that prepare you for resume writing and interviewing skills and all of the workplace codes of conduct so that you're ready to work. We also screen the jobs that you are eligible to go to so that we ensure that employers are offering you a valued work experience rather than just work. It is all paid. There are no internships that are unpaid associated with the Laurier Co-op program. In third year, you'll do an integrated case exercise, 10 days where your core courses are shut down and you work with a case company to resolve a challenge they are facing. Again, the company's executives are the final decision makers on the winner of those cases. I mentioned the international trip in fourth year. Also, there's Startup Fund. The course involves managing money to give you real world experience if money management is in your future. Entrepreneurship, we have a Launchpad Center that will assist you in promoting your idea. We also have a few terms sponsored by the Royal Bank where they will give you a co-op work term payment while you work on your own idea. So lots of opportunities to build your experiential side. Some of the companies that come on to act as those case questions in Live Case and in ICE are here on the slide just by their logo, but I'm sure you recognize all of those. Focusing specifically on how we fit those double degrees together, I want you to just take a look at this slide for a moment, which is largely about FinMath and that double degree and how we pace it out. So in your foundational year of year one, you're going to take foundation courses, those initial courses in both financial math and in business. And that first summer, nothing scheduled. You may need to repeat a course here. You may do a variety of things, work on an elective going forward. That's your last summer unscheduled for us. And then you come back and join second year. This is where Riley is right now in here. And then your first spring co-op term as you flow out. Then you look at your third year split so that your academic terms are split up. 3 if you're operating in the FinMath program. And so you're out and done with 2 years or with 2 degrees just shy of 5 years. So let's look at them a little bit more closely on the partner side. And you're talking to the Dean of Business, so not the Associate Dean of Math. And so I am going to defer to Riley when she talks about her experience on the math side of this. But here's the overview sketch of what you're looking at. Don't, though, be fooled necessarily by the financial word in the financial math program. You don't study mathematics here. It's more than just dollars. Not everything you do is with a dollar sign. Now, are some of the concepts and principles that are stressed the most applicable to those used in the context of finance? I would say that is the layering about how they choose which courses and at what level they focus. But do you learn the underlying math theory associated with those concepts that are most popular in finance? Absolutely. And so that's the distinction I would make between that and what you'll see in a slide coming forward on the U of W math side. For computer science, a very heavy software focus, mobile computing, data mining, parallel programming. It too has an applied focus when you're looking at the Laurier computer science. And here, pay attention, the distinction on the slide here is the Bachelor of Science in Computer Science. That's the Laurier designation, as opposed to a Bachelor in Computer Science, which is the U of W side. Here are their programs. And so the distinction I would make here when you're studying U of W math, or math with U of W is a purer, more theoretic, more cross-sectioned kind of study. You will take those classes at U of W, which if you haven't been to the Waterloo campus, I encourage you to go as soon as it's COVID safe to do so. But even so, if not, take a drive with your families and take a look at how close these two campuses are. We have the benefit of being just a block apart so that you move between the two campuses as you take courses at each. Here's some expected job titles and of course, the companies that are commonly worked with. When we're looking computer science, again, lots of overlap here between the two programs. So really a choice with whether you want to be doing 2 different institutions or whether you want to stay confined within the Laurier institutions. No reason you can't apply to both of the computer science programs and math programs, all 4 of the double degrees, if you want to. What's the distinction? You could be admitted from either side. So on the U of W programs, you can apply to U of W through UAC and also to Laurier through UAC in order to be considered. And we do our own admissions. We decide on how big the program should be this year, and then we divide it between us, and we each let in half based on our own assessment. It will make a difference who lets you in for only these things: who hosts your co-op, what residence you live in, what scholarships you're eligible for, and how international exchanges are arranged. But you get all of those things at both schools, and you are full students of both schools. In fact, you will have 2 student numbers to keep track of, which is, one of the challenges administratively, but certainly a great benefit to have 2 strong schools behind you. When we talk about co-op in the double degree, we talk about automatic entry with your admission, but that doesn't mean you must complete co-op when you're on a WLU double degree. It is still optional. You may elect not to do co-op, and some people focusing on entrepreneurial ideas may elect to do that. That's not true on the Waterloo side. On the Waterloo side, co-op is mandatory, and so no option to drop that feature. It also has an extra work term if you're admitted on the Waterloo side and do co-op through that. But your co-op is administered through your home school. There are exchange opportunities between our schools to do one term hosted through the other school if you want to do that. Not too many of our students take that feature, but it is there for you. I've already noted that yes, throughout that preparatory year, before you go out to work in that first summer, there will be workshops that prepare you and complete the academic side of it. There will be academic components you complete during your work term. So let's talk a little bit about the minimum averages. They're the minimum requirements on your required courses are minimums. Those averages, as we look at them, are essentially market driven, but you need to be at a GPA in the 90s, low 90s often for the WLU. So the Laurier contained components, but certainly to hit those, you're probably going to need a more than the minimum in your math and English. So in the average we're talking about, we include your required courses and we average repeat attempts. So your required courses are in and we average the attempts. I'll just let you digest that before I flip to the next slide. This is for U of W, slightly higher on the minimums, and we have common minimums across the schools. We have common requirements of calculus, and notice calculus is here. If you were at the single degree session, that second math is a choice for single degree students, but for double degree students, it must be calculus. So I'll let you just, these of course are available in the view book for you to check. We have an applicant background statement that is optional at Laurier, and I'll make a few more comments about that as we go to Q&A now. As well, an alternate offer feature that if that hasn't already been answered in the chat, I'll invite Amy to have us talk about that. So that's the end of our presentation, and I'll open it up for questions, and I'm sure Amy's got lots there for us.
Hello, thank you. That was, goodness, I couldn't believe, I looked down at the time, I thought it flew by. That was, a lot was covered in that short amount of time. That was great. Yeah, so we have some absolute fabulous questions that people have been asking as usual. Maybe though, Professor McGill, I will get you to start with just talking a little bit about alternate offers. There weren't a lot of questions about that, but I think people will probably still be interested. There are lots of questions about the general process. So yeah, if you wouldn't mind just starting us off with that, that would be fantastic.
All right, so an alternate offer is something we send out. If we can't give you an offer to the program you applied for, but we look at what you've accomplished with your transcript and it fits another one of our related programs, then we will send you an offer for that related program that we would have you consider. So for example, if you were to apply to double degree math with U of W and you don't make the cutoffs for that, we may send you double degree fin math at Laurier, which we think is a good fit for what we've seen of you, and we would invite you to consider that. Similarly, if you were applying, for example, to single degree and you didn't make the cutoffs, you might get an alternate offer for econ, honors economics with a financial management attachment to it. We tend to do that because we want you to be aware that there are other fits that may get you to the very same spot. So that's what an alternate offer is, but we don't send those out too early. It's only after we've made the decision that you don't fit the program that you've applied for. So if you've heard nothing and you're thinking, well, why haven't I gotten an alternate offer? That will mean because you're still in consideration for the program that you applied for. That's all.
Fantastic. The other thing that we were getting a lot of questions about that I think it might be interesting to talk about just a touch further, and then I'm going to bring things very much more Laurier focused, is the idea of being a student at 2 institutions for our double degrees with UW. Specifically sort of looking at what that means administratively, and in terms of having those 2 different program and different institution requirements as a student to navigate. Yeah, so Professor McGill, if you wanted to jump in on that, that'd be great.
The first thing I'll say is go to orientation. That first week, we will teach you how to manage 2 universities, because you really are a student of 2 universities. So we have, and Riley and Wendy will be familiar with the LORIS system, where we house your grades, and that's where you do your registration. Well, I can freely tell you that Waterloo has something called Quest, where they manage your marks and manage your registration in courses. And eventually, each term, we reconcile ours together so that we've got everything on both sides. But initially, as you register, you're managing both platforms. And that involves keeping track of your 2 student numbers and your 2 sides of that, which is a little challenging at the beginning, but our students quickly adapt to it. And that orientation at the beginning that teaches you what to check when is really important. We also have a joint committee. I'm on it with some of my peers from U of W. We meet on a monthly basis and we reconcile those kind of little hiccups that happen. On the upside, yeah, it's 2 students cards, it's 2 gyms, it's 2 libraries, it's 2 everything, it's 2 health services. So you've got an embarrassment of riches that you can draw upon with 2 schools.
Absolutely, yeah. So we actually had a lot of questions specifically about the financial math double degree. That's and I thought, this is fantastic. We have some people here with lots of experience in that area. So the question that I thought was maybe an interesting one to just kind of speak about would be just somebody was asking what the classes are like if you can sort of describe what classes are like in the first year of the program. So I'll turn that over to our lovely students if you could give us an answer there.
Riley, you're on mute.
Am I talking now?
I know you are.
Okay, perfect. Sorry about that. Yeah, I can talk on this. I just completed my first year, so I have a wealth of knowledge when it comes to financial math courses. So in your first year, you take 5 math courses, 3 BU courses, and 2 EC courses. So you'll take macro and microeconomics, and then you'll take an accounting course, and then our 2 first-year BU courses, BU 111 and BU 121. And that's the same with all of the BBA students. So you're going to meet everyone in the BBA program, so you'll get to make connections with a lot of BBA students. And then on the math side, it's a little bit interesting. You're going to be taking Introduction to Mathematical Proofs. So that's a very interesting course, and it's talking a lot about theories on where math comes from and how math works. And then you take Intro to Linear Algebra. So if you've taken vectors, it's very similar to that. You'll take Calculus 1 and Calculus 2, and Intro to Math for Finance, which is where a lot of us, that's where we want to be. And a lot of students in the FinMath program do strive in that course. And the professor, Andrew Katz, he's amazing, so you'll love that. But I would say that the courses in first year are they're very good at getting you a sense of what's to come, and they're great foundational courses. I know in my second year now, like I'm taking statistics and linear algebra 1 and some more BU courses, and everything you're learning in first year is like, oh my goodness, I didn't even realize that I'm using these things that I learned first semester of first year, like the first week, and now I'm using it, and it's like a main portion of my second year classes. So those are what the classes are. I don't know if there's any more to talk on for that.
No, That's fantastic. Wendy, I'm going to ask you now if you can talk just a little bit about what the students can expect in their first year BU 111 and 121 classes and their labs. Just with the labs being that smaller sort of chance to work through the material is my understanding. But yeah, Wendy, if you could talk about that, that would be fabulous. Thank you.
Yeah, so a lot of students kind of wonder if you have to come in with business knowledge already, and that's not true. We teach you fundamentals right from the start. We start at the basics, we build you, and we give you that foundation you need. So it's your first year. So BBA in business at Laurier is really casework and group work focused. So you'll be working with a lot of other people in groups a lot of the time, which is really great because you will have to work with people in the real world. So it's great that Laurier kind of gets you this jump start on it. So in first year, so class sizes will be quite large because it is a general first year, but from that we give you guys labs. So what Amy was talking about. So labs are around 20 to 30 people. So regular high school classes. This really lets you guys, the students, get to know each other, and you actually get to really meet the people, know the people in your class, just like a normal high school. Which is part of like having that Laurier community, that small sense of community. You're able to make friends and know more people on a greater in-depth, kind of deeper connection. Also with that, like I was talking about with the casework and group work, we have a year-long project called New Venture. So this is where you and 4 other people are gonna get together, make a new product or service, and then throughout that year, you're gonna apply everything you learned to that project. So a lot of times students are usually wondering like, why am I learning this? When am I ever going to use this? So Laurier having these projects is really helpful in seeing how you're going to apply your knowledge in a real applicable real life setting. So that's a little bit about first year and kind of intro to business and what you'll be doing around there.
I just want to mention at the same time, so I was talking to Sophie Karanopoulos, and she's the coordinator for BU 111, and they actually have changed BU 111 from when Wendy and I were in first year. So instead of New Venture running the whole year, New Venture is just in 121, the second term, whereas BU 111 is more case focused and more case analysis focused. So you'll be learning a lot more like practical thinking skills of how to approach cases, how to approach problems, what questions to ask. And then in BU 121, you're going to do the New Venture where you're coming up with a product and applying all of your knowledge into things like that.
Great point. Yeah, and that's a good point too, is that our programs do evolve. You know, sometimes we have, you know, small little tweaks that we change. So, you know, a current third year student would be having would have had a slightly different experience. It's all done to try to refine the program and to try to continue to improve something that we think is already pretty incredible. But of course, we'd like to tinker.
I think that's more than true in COVID. I think the first year experience that our first years are having now, teaching or learning remotely and in a lot of virtual environments, I'm sure it's the same in high school. It's hard for anyone else to talk about what that experience is like. So yeah, on a grander scale, it happens big and small, big changes, little changes. That's also part of our accreditation process, constant renewal, constant change. What we think can improve things, we make those changes each year.
You'd think we would have rehearsed this, Professor Miguel, because that's a fantastic segue into what I was going to ask next, which has to do exactly with COVID. So now, of course, we can't predict what next year is going to look like. But as we all know right now, as you who are still in high school are probably doing some kind of hybrid online and in-person model for your learning, our students like Riley and Wendy are doing everything fully remote, which means everything is virtual. We don't know what next year is going to look like, and I'm not going to get my crystal ball out and make any kind of predictions. But what I was hoping that Riley and Wendy could do briefly is just tell us what it has been like to be a student in this virtual environment. Yeah, that would be wonderful to hear.
Yeah, I mean, I can go first if you want. Honestly, transitioning from your first year, for me at least, it was my first year. I had just gotten used to everything being in person and going to all my classes, and then switch right to online. It was a little stressful, I'll fully admit. There was a lot of learning and transition. But I'm one of the Dons in residence, so I work very closely with first years this year, and I've been talking to them a lot about what their experience has been like. And I think the transition, like you were going to go through a transition either way, whether just coming from high school to university. And so starting out at the beginning of the year, we already knew that we were going to have online classes, and just having that as that's what the university experience is for them, it actually has helped them that's what they're used to. They transitioned into that. So if that does happen again, whatever your first year experience is going to be, it's going to be a transition no matter what it is. So just you'll learn, you'll adapt. So don't worry too much.
Wendy, did you have anything that you wanted to tell us about your experience?
I was just listening to Riley, and it was just,
I know, great answer.
But I guess like personally, the transition was quite hard. I'm definitely an in-person learner. I love seeing people and just being with people, and that's the aspect I miss the most, is not being able to physically be next to someone and that kind of deal. Even when I was talking to somebody and I told them about my job, the first thing they said was, "I wish I could hug you." So that's the aspects that I think we kind of miss, that in-person support that's there. But other than that, professors have been super understanding. My marketing professor, the first thing she says is, "How's everyone doing?" She like tries to check up with us. Anytime we get a grade, she actually like emails everybody to get their feedback, like how you're feeling about it. So professors are really understanding. It's a difficult time for everyone. So they definitely understand that. But yeah, that's a little bit about that. I think just the in-person aspect, especially for the type of person I am, was a real hit. But what can we do?
Well, that's some great perspective. Thank you. And I will say as well, I loved, Wendy, your point about the professors. One of the great things about Laurier, I'm an alumni as well. I went there a while ago. But the professors, even then, and they continue to be now, they are very involved and invested in the students. They're very caring, and one of the advantages of a school like Laurier, in my opinion, is that you do have some access to those tenured PhD professors that at a lot of the bigger schools I don't think are teaching the undergrad level. And so that's a really great experience for your learning, and it's a very supportive way to go through school, in my opinion. I've just given myself, oh, sorry, Professor McGill, you had something to say.
No, that's fine. I was just going to chime in with a little bit of COVID perspective. When Riley talks about it impacting her first year, we remember it well, March 13th, just on the edge of those final exams when they announced we're all shutting down. So the benefit of, I guess, that experience, we were all kind of reeling with the choices, but in a co-op school like ours, we had to be ready to run a virtual term right away, starting on May 11th, I believe it was. We pushed the term back for 1 week, and that was it. We had to be ready to go, and we learned an awful lot by running courses last spring, and so we felt a little bit more like veterans as we welcomed most people back for the start of our second year in it this past fall. So we are virtual for the winter term in the undergrad programs. So we will have had then 3 full terms, spring, fall, and winter, in the experience of virtual. And, we've learned a lot of things that I think will stay. We'll come back to the classroom eagerly. But as instructors and profs tried to figure out the right balance between what we describe as synchronous activities, meaning the stuff you do in your class in the scheduled time, and the asynchronous things you might be able to work on your own time. We've learned lots about what people's styles are and what they like. So I think we're going to, even if we're back on campus, and let's all hope we are, we're going to have a slightly modified vision of how well we use the virtual platforms that are available to us. So there's a silver lining out of this COVID stuff somewhere. We're just waiting to be able to use it.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Mhm.
And I think it's important to note too that we do still have, even though we are remote and many of us are at home, the students still have access to all the same resources. The Study Skills Center, fantastic. The library, they've been going above. I love libraries, so I was getting their book. They have a little library mobile, and they tell you when it's ready, and you just go pick it up. So it's really nice and safe. So lots of resources. Riley, you were about to jump in there, so I'm going to let you say what you're going to say.
Yeah, I just want to give a big shout out to the Math and Statistics Learning Center, because they will help you so much in your first year math courses. It's upper year students are hired, and they've taken all of the math courses that you could ever think of, and you can go and get help with web work, which is the weekly homework. You can get help on assignments. You can get help with just understanding concepts. They do mock exam take-ups, practice sessions. Like that for the math side of things is such a big help. And I wanted to shout it out because it literally helped me so much in first year.
Fantastic. And they're still running even now remotely. I don't exactly know the structure because I do not take math classes, but I know that they are there, and I'm sure they're doing absolutely wonderful work as always. We're getting near the end here, but I did have a question that I actually believe everybody can answer. So maybe I'm going to start with Wendy on this one, and then we'll go ahead. I think that our attendees will be interested to know a little bit just about the Laurier community. So my question would be to you, what made you choose Laurier?
The famous question. Yeah, more than happy to answer. So originally, Laurier was on my radar because of the double degree. It's such an amazing program, 2 degrees, 2 full degrees in 5 years. So that was the reason why I decided to tour Laurier. Now, when I got to Laurier and I was on my tour, this was when it really hit me, when I was walking around and I was able to envision myself going to class, walking the streets, sitting in that chair, that kind of mentality. And at that time, it was kind of weird. I didn't realize it was a sign at all. I just kind of thought, oh yeah, this is just me envisioning myself. But it's a feeling that only happens in one place. And that's why I came to Laurier. I knew I had to be here. I knew that this was going to be my second home. And now I can definitely say that it's great to be a Laurier Golden Hawk.
Excellent. You even got some of the school chant. Love it. Riley, I'm gonna give you the same question, please and thank you.
Yeah. So if I'm being completely honest, I had no clue what I wanted to do in university. I was the type of student I took every science course. I took every math course. I was involved in my school leadership programs and everything like that. And I was at a stump of what am I going to do? Because I had all of these things that I loved, and I didn't know the best opportunity to put all of those into my university degree. And so I went to the Ontario University's fair, and I met professors it was actually Waterloo, and they were telling me about the double degree between Waterloo and Laurier. And then when I went to the Laurier booth, I started talking to some Laurier students about the double degrees, and they told me about the FinMath program. And I thought, oh, so I can do more than one thing, because I was indecisive and couldn't make up my mind. And then when I came and visited campus, having the double degree in mind, I went to the sessions and I got to meet a bunch of students, and it just clicked for me. Like, I was like, this is what I want to do. This is how I can fit everything that I want to do in one program. There was also the fact that I came to the open house, and I had a tour, and I met all these amazing Laurier students. And then I went to another open house at another school that I was like, it was like, they were like 1 and 2, and I didn't know which one to pick. And so I went to the other school's open house, and I got there and I started the campus tour. And within 10 minutes into the campus tour, I looked at my mom and I was like, no, I'm not going here. Let's leave. And we left. And I was like, I'm going to Laurier. That's it. So it really was a feeling, but it was also like the flexibility of being able to choose what I want here.
And you know. That's a great story, and I think that's true probably of a lot of us too. It's the feeling that you get. For me, it was the small size that was very appealing. Professor McGill, I'm going to ask you this one, but maybe we'll change it up slightly because I know you have chosen Laurier twice, both as a student and as a faculty member. So I wonder if we could get your perspective from the faculty side. What brought you back to Laurier?
Well, certainly, I would say my experience as a student brought me back to it as a faculty side because of what I learned about the faculty while I was here. As I said, I'm the law prof, and you have to take a required law course in second year, and I had an amazing prof who just made me want to quit business school and go to law school, which, may not be normal path. But anyway, really pivotal in shaping where I wanted to go, and took the time to educate me about what it meant to be a lawyer even. And that it wasn't one thing, and you can be a lawyer and an academic and anyway, wrote me a reference, got me into law school. I followed that path. And then when I wanted to be an academic, that kind of ability to connect with students at a pivotal time when they're shaping their own career ideas, and your career idea may change. When I entered Laurier, I wanted to be an accountant. By the time I was through second year, I wanted to be a lawyer. So the people that shape you along the way will be your peers and your students, but they'll be as well the faculty members. And I think as it was in those days, it still is now. There are a lot of really passionate profs at Laurier that will take the time, and they give you an answer that is good for you. At least my experience has been. They aren't always saying the party line, oh, you must stay in business because accounting is wonderful. No, go. But this is the path you follow. So I felt that the people I met were genuinely interested, and so I still feel that way. I love to work with the group of professors that we have assembled here. I love the fact that the first year team are devoted, tenured faculty members who choose to teach first year rather than sub it out to a PhD student. And I love the fact that Dr. Sophie Karianopoulos, that first term business prof, was initially a high school teacher. You can't get a better transitional stage from a PhD in strategy and entrepreneurship and a high school teacher to teach your first year intro to business. It's a perfect fit. So a lot of people really committed to doing larger work than just filling Laurier seats. So it's a pretty special place to be.
Agree. And I will also point out, we've heard a little bit now about, Riley saying she wasn't sure what she wanted, Professor McGill changing pathways. It is so common to not know what you want to do when you first arrive at university. And that is okay. Your path will inevitably probably be different than what you maybe think it is now. And if you can't see a path right now, that's okay too, because that's part of what university does, is it says, yes, this is something I'm interested in. And, oh, I thought accounting, but turns out no. So it's such a valuable experience. So it's okay if you're not 100% sure. You don't have to be. I do think Laurier is an absolutely great place to learn about those aspects of yourself and what you want to be doing. And there's lots of resources and people here that can help you. We are almost at our time here. Professor McGill, was there anything else that you wanted to? I think we've covered most of the questions in the question box, but was there anything else you wanted to add?
Really, if you have other questions for us, then make sure that you stay in touch. All you have to do is Google my name, and you'll find the Laurier email that you can reach out to. But also, I know that there are recordings of these presentations that are going to be available. So if you want to rewatch something, or if you want to refer someone else who may not have come, stay in touch with us, ask those questions you need to. We will have a whole lot of more activities coming as the season rolls out. I would encourage you to choose us as one of your programs to apply to by the UAC date, which I think this year is January 15th or somewhere thereabouts. It's early January. So I would include us by that point, and then stay in touch. through the various outreach we will have over the coming months all the way into April. There'll be lots of activities. So watch our website for those. And thank you for registering for this, because we will probably reach out to you through that registration to make you aware of some of those other activities that will be on. Some of them that we plan to look at will involve watching some of the immersive activities that are going on for our students now. And you may have an opportunity then to visit and see some of those things in action. So that's all I'll add at this point, and thank you for coming.
Absolutely. Thank you all so much for joining us tonight. It was really a pleasure to talk with you. I rushed out of my last session so quickly, I forgot to thank the fantastic panelists that are all here with me. So Wendy and Riley, our students, thank you so much. It was amazing to have your perspective. I know it's invaluable to the students that are making their decisions. Professor McGill, fantastic presentations as always, so thank you. And a big thank you to Lauren and Bethany and Erie, who were behind the scenes working very quickly, because that question box was in good shape. They were answering all your questions. So a great big thank you to everybody. Yeah, absolutely. Reach out if you have any questions. It was wonderful to spend this time with you this evening. And I thank you all very much, and have a lovely evening. Bye-bye.
Bye.